Hello, here we are in another LeetCode problem. As we can see, the problem is marked easy. What we cannot see is the fact that I have been crying for the last 2 weeks. Is that an exaggeration? We will never know. Anyway, the problem is quite straightforward. A sentence is a list of tokens separated by a single space with no leading or trailing spaces. Every token is either a positive number consisting of integers, consisting of digits 0 to 9, with no leading zeros, or a word consisting of lowercase English letters. And we have an example right here. All of that is relevant. What is relevant is you have to read in the string. An example is here with input S. You have to read in the string and determine if the numbers appear in ascending order. You cannot have descending order, nor can you have repetitions of digits. That is not allowed. If the numbers do appear in ascending order, we return true. If numbers are repeated, we return false. If numbers appear in descending order, we return false as well. Here's our solution right here, and let's get to coding it. Now, let me actually zoom in before we start. I'll zoom in here. If you notice, here is the problem, here is the description. These I wrote myself just to make things a little easier, a little problem analysis and program design. So let's begin. If you're wondering what this is just a copy of the class solution over here. I typically copy it and I put it into code blocks and then I write my solution. And we have a couple of test cases here. Let's begin. The first thing we'll do within the function is create a string called digits, which is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Remember, a string is just a character array. We then have a string, let's call it x, and it will point to, well, it will store the value of an empty string. You'll then create an integer y and set it equal to 0. You'll then loop over, so for int c equal to 0, c is less than s.length, so c is less than the length of the string we are processing. We will do C++. You get the joke? Ha ha ha, incredibly funny. I know programming humor. We then will find, so if digits.find, what we are doing here is we are trying to find a digit. So if the string we are reading, so string s, if what appears within the string is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, then this statement right here will evaluate true. So while it's not equal to string in POS, we'll say x plus equals s at position c. So here's an example. Let me go ahead and copy this as an example string. So we start reading the string. We notice the first character that we read will be 1. Digits.find 1. Well, is 1 in digits? Yes, it is. 1 is in digits. Therefore, x plus equals the string 1. The next character we notice is a white space. Therefore, this will not evaluate. So what do we do in that case? We say else if digits.find s at position c is equal to string in POS and not x.empty, ensuring that x is not an empty string. We can then seed out x. We don't do this in the actual solution, this is just for debugging purposes. We do x, we use store. Store, I believe what it stands for is ASCII to integer. It simply reads in a string and returns an integer format of the value x. And we will also see out y. And now, if store x is less than or equal to y, then we return false. This means digits are repeated or digits are descending. Descend. Doesn't seem right. Ascending descending. I think I'm spelling that wrong. Let me go ahead and check. Strictly increasing. No, I believe I'm spelling it wrong. Descending to descending. Okay, that seems right. Anyway, so yep, false. If that is not the case, all we have to do then is say y is equal to stoy x, and x again is just equal to an empty string. We'll end that statement there. We can then do our last check, and that is if c is equal to the length of s, so we've reached the end, so -1, and not x dot empty, I'll do c out x again. Again, this is not part of the solution, this is just for debugging purposes. We can do a story of x. We can use y, and we'll see out y as well. We'll do an endl. We'll say if story x is less than or equal to y, return false, which is the same return false statement we had above. So no need to re-explain that. Assuming none of these cases hold true, let me just make sure I'm off the for loop. Then my line of the for loop is here. For loop, return true. Am I in line? I think I'm in line. Anyway, let's go ahead and test it, because that's the best way to see if we're searching. And here's a mistake. Okay, there's a mistake gone. Little bold. Digit was not defined. Digits. Little silly errors. Okay, there we go. Here we go. X. So let me show you the first string. Let's cancel that. Save everything. We notice here's our first string. One box has 3 blue, 4 green, 3 blue, 4 red, 6 green, and 12 yellow marbles. Second string is hello world 5 times 5. The third string is sunset is at 7:51 p.m. overnight. Lows will be in the low 50s and 60s. These two should evaluate to false. This first one should only evaluate true. So if we run it again, we notice 1, 0, 3, 1, 4, 3, 6, 4, 12, 6. We notice our values are in ascending order. Therefore, we return true, which evaluates to 1. Our second string, we have 5 and 0, correct. But then we have 5 and 5. Because these two values are equal, we then return false. We then have our third string, 7 and 0, 51 and 7. This is true so far. But then we have 50 and 51. Okay, immediately we just return false. And that's the code. And if we go ahead and copy paste the code into our LeetCode solution and we run it, we pass all our test cases and we dismiss and we submit. We get our acceptance here where we see it beats 3 milliseconds, beats 71.8% in terms of memory, but my first solution right here beat 100% and a memory of 6.2 megabytes. Let's go into runtime. 50%, let's look at some bad code, well, inefficient code. So previous number 0, current number is 0, I is equal to 1, while I is less than equal to length in 9. Okay, so this one checks in between the values. Okay. And then let's go ahead and look at description. Let's see if we have any discussions, only 3 discussions. Use catch try block, oops oriented problem. Do you mean object oriented problem? Oops oriented problem. The grade H says, why is it false? It's false because 36 less than 37, 37 less than 38, 38 less than 39, but we have two 39s, therefore we immediately have to return false because we are repeating values. What is the error in this code? Let's actually go ahead and check. A bool is a num for integer I equals 0, I is less than a.size, I plus plus if a is less than the character 0, or a at position I is greater than 9, return false, else return true. Pools are number descending. But why is he in this code? I'll be honest with you, I do not care. But I think someone did help him out. Check this out. Someone did help. Here we have helpful people, unlike me, who reads it, knows it, and refuses to help. I just don't want to do commenting. Anyway, that is the code, and that is the end of the video.